Hello, welcome to episode 2 of a podcast series on going electric at Contest Yachts. In the first episode, we were lucky to have Contest Yachts CEO Mike Owen here, and he ran through the principles of the project, the concept. Today, we're lucky again, we've got two guys very deeply involved in the project, and we're going to be looking at much more detail. We're looking further into this, and I'm going to make a real mess of saying their surnames, so forgive me if I scandalise the names. But we have Stefan Bayerle from Torqeedo, Director OEM Business, and we also have Robert Vijselaar, who is Contest's head engineer in this area. I think first, though, what we'll do is, before we go into too much detail, we'll start with Stefan. And we'll talk a little bit about Torqeedo's background. People may well be familiar with the brand. Many will not. Many might know you from your very early days when you were introducing the first electric outboards for small boats. And of course, now we're talking a totally different scale. So we'll talk with Stefan first, and then we'll come to Robert as well. And we'll go on from there. So please, Stefan, tell us a bit about Torqeedo and also how you've arrived to be here with Contest.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's really a pleasure for me to talk about my company. As you might know, Torqeedo launched the first products about 17 years ago. And up to now, we produced approximately 200,000 units to the global market. We are the first in that section by producing electric propulsion system for environment-friendly boat cruising. And on the one side, we mainly produce in the low-volt section propulsion system for smaller vessels, sailing yachts, and power boats. And after a long period of development, we now produce, since 10 years right now, we now produce high performance propulsion system combined with energy management solutions.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's quite a step up, isn't it? What were the key points in this move into the larger vessels?
Yeah, the market requested more and more powerful propulsion systems. Not more complex systems, but we are forced to meet in a better way the requirements, the expectations, and the inquiries from the market side. Yeah, and they request a fully integrated system. Therefore, this moves us a lot in the last 10 years, to develop such kind of beautiful propulsion systems in combination with economic system management units.
Okay. When you say fully integrated, what does that actually mean?
It's actually mean that it's a modular structure system. That means we start with the propulsion itself. It's always consists of an energy storage device like a battery and a motor. But around that, we have to cover all these needs of hotel loads. We have to cover the different charging possibilities, recharging possibilities for our batteries, like solar charging, like hydrogeneration. This hydrogeneration, if you are returning or rotating the propeller, this produces energy to recharge the battery. And this is really a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So tell us also about coming into Contest Yachts, because this is not the first company to have your system aboard, but I think it may well be in this particular niche sector. Is that correct?
Definitely, and that's why we rebuild our organization to focus more and more on the OEM needs, on the top boat builders around the globe.
Explain OEM a bit.
Yeah,
some people may not be familiar.
OEM are the major boat builder on a global view. Mm-hmm. They are boat builders who produce either semi-customized, customized, or serial boats. Mm-hmm. And they are not a lot around the market. They are the major parts. And therefore, we can't go ahead and simply sell our existing portfolio. Yeah. It's much more important to meet these clients, these OEM partners on an eye level, to simply listen in the first step, and then to create in a very intensive collaboration and customized solution who fits brilliant into their beautiful luxury sailing products.
So, for example, here, at what stage of the development of this, because the first page is going to be the Contest 50 CX.
Yeah.
At what stage did the collaboration begin? Where were you involved from?
It's absolutely necessary. It's mandatory, I would like to say. I want to express that we have to do an intensive collaboration at the early stage. Yeah. At the first step, we have to get a clear idea how contests build their boats.
Yeah.
Because this is mandatory to guarantee at a later stage a smooth integration of our system and to guarantee a hassle-free and long-term operation of our systems.
Mm-hmm. Because I guess there's a big difference between going into a mass production boat and a bespoke boat like here.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right. The expectations from such kind of clients, let me call it like that, is very, very high.
Yeah.
They always focus on requesting a fully service network on a global view. Yeah, we should be able to cover all the needs during the operation in front of the building, within the building process, and afterwards, if they are cruising, ocean-going sailing yachts, we have to cover these systems and these needs.
Okay, so let's look a little bit of that. What does global cover mean?
Global cover means at the first stage, we are able to monitor our system continuously.
And how do you do that?
We do that via remote devices, via over-air services. We provide over-air wireless updates and, of course, diagnostic routines. And we do this with our router system and wireless system and over the internet.
That's intriguing. So I'm sitting in Fiji. I've got a service issue. Don't know what that is at this moment, but I want to talk to somebody. But you can actually get inside the unit and actually really see from your base in Europe to my boat in Fiji.
Yeah.
And you can say, this is what needs doing.
Absolutely right.
And then you can get a technician there to resolve that as well.
Yeah, in principle, you get our remote virtual technician on board. If you allow us and if you acknowledge, we log into the live system and we are for diagnostic reason, for update reason, or for troubleshooting.
Yeah.
And this is over the first step. And then we send our service engineers. We work with a global network of service partners and dealers, and they do the job on their premises and dealing with our systems because they are used and trained for that.
Okay, I think now perhaps we should start exploring some of the frequent questions that are asked about it. I'll stay with Stefan for a moment. I'm going to come to you, Robert, in a second. But one of the first questions, I suppose, is about the need of maintenance.
Yeah,
we've now in this system aboard. Let's just recap on that for those who've not who weren't tuned in to the first episode. But the principal units we have on board, we have the battery pack.
Yeah,
we have the Torqeedo drive, and we can run with just that because it's a huge battery pack. But if we're looking at going further, we would be having a diesel generator on board, which a blue water cruiser would be having anyway as a standard practice. So we've lost one great big diesel unit, which was the main engine. So that's great. So with that gone, servicing is reduced, diesel servicing is reduced to just the generator.
Yeah.
The drive unit itself, tell me about the maintenance on that, because we imagine that it's very little.
Of course, you're absolutely right. I fully agree. This is really very little. It's you have just the drive unit as a moving part. This needs an inspection on a yearly basis, just a visual inspection. And there are not any other moving parts. There are system control unit. Yeah, this is the electronic. That's the intelligence behind. And there are, let me say it's stupid energy storage device, the battery itself.
Yeah.
And all these companies are self-protected. That means if any issue happen with increase of temperature and so on, our system automatically reduce the power to get rid of this.
Yeah.
And that means the maintenance is really, really, really very less level. And by the end, it's a yearly inspection. That's all.
Okay, well, that sounds very good. And again, it's instructed by the internet intelligence.
Definitely, that's necessary.
That's great. Okay, let's go perhaps to the elephant in the room. I don't know whether that translates into Dutch, but it's the question of range. A lot of people as soon as you talk electric, they talk about endlessly with cars that, how far can I go? What's the limit? What can I do? So clearly in the water, people are transferring that question across. So let's address range. So Robert, I know you've got some interesting data. You've done a lot of research into this. So tell me about this.
Yeah, the range, of course, was our first question too, where we wanted to know how far can the boat get. Is it really limited or maybe limitless? One of the big benefits when sailing with an electric drivetrain is that you can regenerate energy. And if you can store that on board, you can use that energy back again to propulse the boat. And if you use your sailing boat enough with the sails, so you regenerate energy, then your range can be limitless because you store your generated energy and use it from time to time for domestic appliances or for the propulsion system. So in that way, it is possible to sail limitless with this kind of drivetrains. But also, if you use it on the regular way and you do not regenerate any energy when sailing, you just use it as a motorboat, for example, and then the range, of course, is limited because the only energy supply that you have are the batteries. And the batteries, on the 50-footer can be either 40 or 80 kilowatt. And when the battery is empty, then the boat stops.
Mm-hmm.
You have no energy to propulse the boat anymore.
But we have the answer to that, don't we?
Yes.
Because what do we have on board? We have
we have a generator on board that produces on the 50-footer 20 kilowatt of power. And that is enough power to keep on sailing on a proper speed just on the generator. So the generator is making electricity, which goes more or less directly into the drivetrain, and then you can sail without any problem.
Okay. Some people might ask, sorry to interrupt there, some people might ask the question, well, if you've got a diesel generator, what's the difference between that and a main engine? But there's a big difference, isn't there? Both in terms of its function and its servicing. So tell us about that.
Yeah, well, the big advantage to have the diesel generator as the diesel device on board instead of a traditional engine is that the generator is always running on the most efficient way. So a diesel engine, even though a normal one or within a generator, likes to run at around 70% of its power. That's the sweet spot. So it's the most energy efficient. On a traditional boat, you do not sail at 70% of the speed because that will be too fast.
Yeah.
But that is what the engine would like.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, it just runs on very low speed, and that's not good for the engine and on the long term, not for maintenance. The generator is always running on the speed that is the best for the generator. It produces at the moment a lot of energy, but it can be stored either in the batteries or be used directly on board for domestic appliances or for the drivetrain. That way, you only switch on the generator when it's needed. So you charge up the batteries to 100% or to whatever level you like, and then the generator is stopped again. And in the runtime, it was only running in the most efficient way.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So really, we've got greater efficiency with less servicing, and that's not just of Stefan's electrical components. This is of the diesel components as well.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah. We also did a small investigation about the range because on the traditional systems, no one ever asks about the range of the boat. So with a traditional engine, no one asks the shipyard, okay, if we are here at the shipyard in Medemblik and we want to go to the Mediterranean, can we range that without refueling in the meantime? No one asked that question ever. But it's the first question if someone comes and asks about an electric drivetrain. So we did have a look. What is really needed? How far do we, if we have the generator on board and we use that energy to propulse the boat, how far do we want to come? So we reversed the question and we set a target, and then we did have a look, okay, how much hours do we need to make with the generator to make that amount of energy, and how much diesel fuel do we need therefore. And that resulted in a smaller tank volume than on a traditional boat.
Mm-hmm. It feeds the outcomes of range is weather conditions, water conditions. And I think you took those into consideration also, didn't you, in your research?
Yeah, that's right. Because let's say if you open up the folder from any car builder, you would see a range that you probably will never achieve if it's your own car. But we are building boats that need to go around the globe in good and in bad conditions, of course. And we wanted to make sure that what we tell our customers we can achieve in both situations. Because in a sailing boat, if you are in the open sea, you cannot find shelter anywhere. So we did have a look together with Torqeedo about the range, the speed and the performance in, let's say, flat water conditions or in perfect conditions, but also in stormy conditions with 7 force of wind and the sea that is coming with it, and what is the range in that case. Mm-hmm. If you would just use your drivetrain for electric sailing, because when the wind is there, you probably will be sailing with our boats.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. But let me cut in here. Yes, we are quite conservative if we calculate a new system. Therefore, we are always dealing with this worst case scenario at the first stage. To be on the safe side and to be prepared by the end. To get rid of it. Let me add another issue to this combination between diesel generator and our electric propulsion system, because the real beauty behind is the full integration of this diesel generator, this diesel DC generator, because our system fully controls the diesel generator and the electric propulsion and the hotel loads on an automatic basis. Always focusing the most efficient, the highest efficiency of the system. Mm-hmm. And therefore you can select as the owner, if you run in the so-called comfort mode, that keeps you free to enjoy the environment, to enjoy cruising, silent cruising. Or if you wish, you can also change to power mode, to get the fully energy out of the generators and out of the battery in bad weather conditions. Mm-hmm. But normally we recommend leave it like it is, go with the comfort mode, because therefore all components, all consumers and everything will be controlled by the system itself.
Yeah, okay. So let's look at it from the Torqeedo point of view. In the first episode, we talked about the if you like, the hard benefits, the hard engineering side of it, but then the softer side of it as well. So comfort mode. So let's talk about the comforts that electric propulsion brings with it. So vibration, noise.
Thanks for this question. Because this brings me to the main benefit of an electric propulsion system. Electric propulsion or electric mobility provides you a very clean, sufficient, quiet, and easy handle solution by the end. You focus much more on the environment. You closely connect the boater with the nature, or the boater with his friends and family on board, because you are not listen always this ugly noise of the combustion engine. You focus more to the nature. That's the main beauty. And by the second step, of course, this additional feature of hydrogeneration. If you are cruising, if you are sailing out of the ocean, you're moving through the water anyway. And therefore, if you can live with a little bit less speed, the rotation of the propeller provides you more energy you need. Mm-hmm. And this makes long range cruising under electric mode.
Yeah. And there's also additional hydrogeneration here, isn't there? It's not just on the regeneration from the main propeller. It's also putting with some integrated units. Yeah.
We can also mount additional units to regenerate energy when sailing.
Yeah.
But it's something we also offer on a traditional boat.
Yeah. So that's that's something we're used to doing already.
Yeah.
But here we're integrating it with the Torqeedo system.
Yeah.
So again, it's all within your control system.
Yeah, right.
So it's all
Yeah.
uniquely
Fully
controlled, which is great.
Yeah.
And what sort of scale of generation can one get up to?
You mean how much power we
Yeah.
can generate?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that depends on the speed, but normally from 6 knots you start to generate a proper amount of energy, and the faster you get, the better.
It's very much depends on the propeller size,
Yeah.
dimension,
Mhm.
pitch.
Yeah.
Definitely. The hull resistance is another very
Yeah.
important figure in that calculation.
But this is something that we've worked on from day one on this project, and I think also we can put not just a single unit integrated, we can put 2 hydro generators in.
Yeah.
So again, depending on requirement, you can go low or you can go high.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But what about? I mean, with the instant torque of an electric drive system, presumably maneuverability on the boat is pretty good as well, isn't it?
Definitely, it's much better in comparison to a combustion engine. You have to stress the combustion engine or standard engine much more, because the electric motor provides maximum torque from 0 up to maximum speed.
Yeah.
That makes maneuvering much easier because they have much more push through the water.
Yeah.
And that, makes your life easier if you are mooring.
So effectively, on a conventional boat, I throttle forward. I've got to wait for things to die down before I can throttle backwards. But with electric, it's just immediate counter-select.
Absolutely, I do not care about that.
Yeah, so it's forward, backwards.
It's a completely new experience to drive an electric propulsion system, because it's really easy to handle and it's simple. You just push the button instead of the ignition key, and then you go out and go in. You reduce, you accelerate. You do not care about any other side issues.
Yeah,
that makes it really easy.
When the system is on, there's not something running on the background.
Yeah,
and that's on the traditional systems. First you switch on the engine, and then it's already there, it's running, and before you can engage it.
Yeah. So instant help.
Yes.
Instant ease, and that's what we like, isn't it? Yeah. So, hotel services. We've got these great big Banks batteries. We've got 40 or 80 kilowatt. And in the first episode, we only just touched lightly on this. But tell me a bit more about the management of hotel services and what this really means in terms of what you can run. In the old days, blue water, you had gas on board. We don't have to gas on board now because we can't have halogen because of this. And tell me more about the technical side of this.
Now we really modified electric system around the drivetrain system, because we have the big battery pack, 40 or 80 kilowatt on board, and it would be stupid if we do not use that both for propulsion as for the domestic appliances. So the electric system on these boats is really modified therefore, and for example to run the air conditioning or to cook your egg, we take the energy out of the big battery pack from Torqeedo instead of out of a small service battery pack. So this makes that both for the air conditioning and all other appliances, we now have a battery pack that is 40 or 80 kilowatts big. So for example, when you are sailing somewhere and you want to moor into a bay and you need to run the air conditioning or use any other equipment on board, you can do that without switching on the generator or have something that needs to make sound or noise, because the battery pack is that big. You can run for hours on it.
Yeah.
So even afterwards sail back.
Yeah. So this is really it's a game changer, really, isn't it? Because we've already said, well, we've got rid of the main engine, but now in many instances we've also effectively got rid of the generator. Generator's still on board, but we're not using it. We're not using it because we're relying on the battery pack.
We simply do not care about it, because another issue of this, another functionality of this comfort mode is that our system always takes care to minimize the on time of the generators. For example, if the state of charge in the battery is not full during dinner, our system switch on the generator before the night period, that you will get not you avoid any on time during the night. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another issue of this system, definitely.
Well, I mean, we're running out of time here, and I could carry on this conversation for a lot longer. It's been fascinating.
Yeah, I want to address one thing, because if you are using the system, for example, for day trip, then you even would not need a generator.
Definitely.
Because you leave the marina with batteries that are fully loaded, and you do not have to change to take that much power out of the batteries to use on one day.
Yeah. Okay. So it really covers all situations.
Yes.
It's a brilliant solution for day sailing. It's a brilliant solution for world sailing.
Yeah, indeed.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good. Look, I think we're going to have many more conversations over the time on this, and I can see that this series is going to stretch out to be more things.
Great.
But I really do thank you both for coming in today and letting us all know. So thanks everybody for watching and for listening, whether you're online or whether you're sitting down catching up on this later. But thank you very much, everybody. And please do remember, hit subscribe wherever you are, and we'll keep you up to date. And Stefan, Robert, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.